So this is the case about Sarah Boone, and basically it's, what I've noticed on the internet is that there's all these cases on these law and crime channels, and I've seen other people comment this before too, and I'm like, they're right. I agree with them that all these cases they're covering are about women doing evil things to men, and then you have so many cases across America of women being abused and they're not getting any spotlight whatsoever. So here's yet another case about a woman who is, by the people on the internet, are finding her guilty, not innocent until proven guilty. Is not accepted by these anti-American fascist people. They want basically like North Korea, China type justice system where you don't get to be considered innocent until all facts are heard. So they go by what the small parts of the case. They present what they want the people to see so that they can get this, juicy spin going, get the wheels turning, so they can have lots and lots of money off this case on all the ads they put and the income and the revenue that they make on these channels with all the views and whatnot and the ads they put on the videos. So my prayer, and I know the Bible says do not curse, bless and curse not, but my prayer, since all these people who are trying to find her guilty, innocent until proven guilty is not something that they want for our country. Since they're attacking our country's freedom and our country's foundation, my prayer for each and every person who does that is that they are put in a situation where they are accused and they don't get the right of being innocent until proven guilty. So that is literally my prayer for each person. And I hope it teaches them a lesson. Because here's the problem. This woman, and I'm going to reserve until they go through a trial and hear all the facts, okay? But I do think that she is guilty of manslaughter. However, I reserve the fact that I have not heard all the facts, okay? I'm trying to be fair because that's what our Constitution, and I think morally we should all do. So I don't believe for a second that this woman intended to kill this man, because why would she sit there and record herself being mean to this guy? And it's not funny, but it's just like, okay, you see these crazy YouTube videos where they play hide and seek, you see boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands, wives, and they're pranking each other, and they, they're not like doesn't look like they're in toxic relationships, they're just doing funny pranks to each other. Some are on sadistic levels. Like, some of them make me mad. I'm like, that's just too mean, right? It's not funny, it's mean. And some of them, it's violent as well. But nonetheless, YouTube loves that stuff. So, but here's this chick. This is a toxic relationship. This guy's mean to her, and she's mean to him. But, this is not like where she's an abused woman. They're actually abusive of each other. Just from the sound of it, some of the things that he did to her and she did to him. So this is basically, in my opinion, a toxic relationship, and there's actually a lot of relationships like this where they abuse each other. It's mutual abuse, right? And so I think that had he survived this, I think they'd still be together. I think that this is just one of those relationships where they were just toxic to each other. So this guy's in the suitcase, they're playing hide and seek, and she zips it up. She's like, haha, I'm gonna punk you now, I got you in the suitcase. And she's sitting there talking smack to him. He's like, Sarah, I can't breathe. And she's like, well, that's what it felt like when you were choking me. So she's punishing him because of the things that he did. She's like, she got him, and she's going to punish him and use this like as an opportunity. She's seizing the moment, right? And I don't think she believed that he would die. Because why would she sit there and record herself knowing the cops are going to take that video and use it against her? I mean, I just don't believe that this was murder one. I don't know what they're charging her with. Probably manslaughter would be pretty appropriate. Maybe murder two. But here's the thing where the problem with this case is they did not do alcohol blood tests that I can see. Okay, all the facts are not, they show you right now what you want to see. Unless you've gone in and looked at the courts and seen when it was actually filed, what was done. They haven't done any, they just should have immediately, if she said that she was drinking, they immediately could have done a blood alcohol test. Let's take the Karen Reed test, for example. Okay, the night after she had slept for several hours, and she comes there and they immediately do blood and alcohol test on her. So this is within hours that this guy dies. So and she mentions alcohol was involved. So they should have immediately done an alcohol test on her, and they could tell, you saw in the Karen Reed trial where they could, kind of calculate based on what it was, several hours later, whatever amount of alcohol was in her system, they can guesstimate or calculate whatever on what it would have been, several hours prior, to see if she was in fact impaired by alcohol, which doesn't remove her, accountability. It changes, it gives into the fact that she was speaking truthfully, that yeah, she went upstairs and she was probably impaired. Would she have done it if she wasn't drinking? Maybe, probably. It sounds like they were mean to each other. Like this, oh my gosh. And people were like, why do people stay together if they're so mean to each other? It's like, well, I don't know, but people do that. This kind of stuff can go on for years. And so why would she stay with him if he's choking her? Well, because they're mean to each other. It's like, it's what it sounds like. So there was history of, complaints and stuff. So it just sounds like a toxic relationship that had a situation and that went bad. He put himself in that suitcase, but she decided to make it where he couldn't get out. So when he's saying, I can't breathe, in her mind, she's thinking, okay, well, you're talking, so you're breathing. Right? She's she's being mean to him while he's in the suitcase. She's punishing him and bringing up the stuff that he did to her, right? And I really don't think she believed he would die. She said something about she left a finger hole, where he could get air or whatever. She thought that he could get out, or I don't know if she really thought he could get out. But whatever the situation, here's the problem with this case. Judges are not allowed to allow attorneys to quit. That's not allowed. Absolutely not. You don't like your defendant, so what? Get over it. Okay? Public defenders are not allowed to quit their defendants. So they're presenting it like she fired all these attorneys. Well, that's not true. According to her, they're saying that I think probably it was a combination of both. But here's the thing about allowing a defendant to fire an attorney. After the third attorney, this is what the judge should have done. He should have said, okay, well, 3 is the limit, okay? And so here's the deal. If you don't like your attorney and his performance, what will happen is if you don't like the outcome, you can do what's called an ineffective assistance of counsel, and then you will, be allowed to present, or get an appeal attorney. They do have public defender appeal attorneys, and they could present why and how the attorney was actually ineffective or wasn't doing the things that they should have done, and probably just wanted her to take a plea bargain. If they even offered one, I don't know. She should probably take manslaughter, though, if they did offer her that, but I don't know what that happened. But you cannot just allow an attorney to quit. So just tell her, so look, we've already been through 3, so you're going to have the same problems again, so here's the deal. You can A, represent yourself, or B, accept this is your last attorney, and if you don't like the end result, you have an effective assistance of counsel appeal. That's your option. So here's what it is. And if a defendant is disruptive in a courtroom, they don't even have to allow the defendant in the courtroom. They can remove them. But whenever somebody's going through attorneys like this, she should have been psychologically evaluated, and I don't know if they did or not. But the defendant doesn't have a right to be in the courtroom if they're disruptive. Like, if she's, not getting along with her attorney, starts arguing with her attorney in the courtroom, they can remove her. And then, but no way, under any circumstances, should any defendant be denied counsel. Period. End of story. And the fact that our country has people in it that are so anti-American, so anti-constitutional rights, so anti-freedom, because they are just people-sheeple who, when they get on this hate, I hate the defendant haters is what I call them, because they don't like something that they did. And it's like, okay, you may not like that person, you may not like what they did, but if they're allowed to deny constitutional rights to that person because, they're using this people hater phenomenon to accept this and desensitize them, what about the people that are being denied rights? It's egregious, okay? And so I'm really sick and tired of these channels picking all the murder cases across America, and you're picking these cases where women are the defendants. And in this case, I'm just like, no, I don't care if she has a complicated personality. This judge is at fault for her going through that many attorneys. He should have cut it off at 3. He should have told her after second one, look, this is attorney number 3. This is your last one. If you have problems with this attorney as well, you're not going to be allowed another attorney. So what will happen is if you decide you don't like this attorney and you need to really try to get along with this attorney, but this is it. So if you come back and say you don't like this attorney either, what will happen is I'll give you the option to represent yourself, because that is a constitutional right for the defendant to be allowed to represent themselves if they choose. Okay? But you can't force them to represent themselves. So there's no excuse for this judge. No excuse whatsoever. Let's talk about bond. Bond. I've seen much worse murders than this where people got bond. Come on now. Really? She's like this. No. She has no history, no charges, nothing. Nothing. She's never, and there's no history with this woman. There's history of problematic relationships and, complaints that, there's obviously a toxic relationship, but there's no history of any kind of charges or domestic violence or anything. She's not somebody that should be denied bond, period. So this is an egregious case. It's extremely hostile what Law and Crime and Court TV and all these cringy YouTube channels are wanting to be anti-American. These lawyers, they know better. They know better. No, these judges cannot allow this woman to go through 7 attorneys and then just deny her an attorney. Okay? Number 3 should have been the last one, and a warning that this is it. You got ineffective assistance counsel options if you don't like this attorney, this next one, whatever. Psychological evaluation. Now let's talk about her ability to represent herself, because she is incarcerated. And everything, I haven't read the entire letter, but I have read, she's just somebody that doesn't accept the crappy crap going on in the system. I mean, she's just like, I ain't taking this. And, anyways. The things that she's asking for are actually legit, at least some of them. The ability to subpoena people, the ability to have access to records, absolutely should have those things. Okay, absolutely. The things that she's asking for, they're using her, like painting her as this problematic person, like her requests are not even valid or reasonable. I'm sorry, yes they are. And I'm praying for justice. I'm praying for the system, not necessarily for her, but I will pray for her, okay, for salvation, and just pray that she will accept that, okay, I don't believe she did it on purpose. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it. I don't feel it. I think that she's not accepting accountability. She's saying non-intentional. She's saying that's her plea, non-intentional. She's not saying not guilty. And I find that very interesting that people are making fun of her for saying that. But to me, it's like she's saying, well, she'll accept accountability if you accept that it wasn't intentional. And she keeps saying non-intentional. To me, that's accepting accountability in a way. But if they're offering her manslaughter, she should have took it. But if she just wanted to be acquitted, well, I think that's unreasonable, right? I think that she should have owned that she didn't think he would die. Okay, she was being mean to him and abusing him while he was in the suitcase. And regardless if he was abusive to her. I mean, the things that she said was like, okay, you can't breathe. Well, that's what it felt like when you were choking me. But is that evidence that she actually believed that he couldn't breathe? I think that's between her, God, and the jury. I'm not going to make the call on that, because innocent until proven guilty. Right? That's America, guys. That's America. Innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. And I'm just like, these people, please stop with your fascist behavior. You really are a fascist if you think that she should be labeled guilty without a trial. You're a fascist. You're an anti-American, you're a communist, you're a North Korean-minded person who doesn't want somebody to have innocent until proven guilty. Because that's one of the most blessed things about our country, is that somebody can be accused of a really horrible thing, and they have the ability to present what the media gets to know and what they want the people to know. They're not going to tell you everything. They're going to tell you what they want you to hear, because they're selling stories, right? And then I want people to hold these channels accountable for all these cases against women, and they're not showing the world what the horrible things that men are doing to women. And I'm so sick of that, and I'm so sick of people accepting that. So I really appreciate people. 1, innocent until proven guilty. 2, no, she cannot be denied attorney. 3, no, she shouldn't be denied bond. And 4, she absolutely, if you're going to violate her constitutional rights to an attorney, not manage the whole lawyer defendant, complicated defendant situation by putting a limit, you know, and just say, this is what it is. This is your attorney. You've already been through 2 or 3 or whatever. They went through 7. That's ridiculous. That's the judge's fault. Not her fault, judge's fault. She's complicated. If that's what the situation is. I don't know. Maybe these lawyers, these public defenders are just nasty. And they are being disrespectful to her. Maybe that's really the situation. We don't know. You don't know all the communications between her and these lawyers, and you get a system of public defenders, and they're corrupt. You know, a lot of them, and a lot of times they're just like they don't want to. You can't. I mean, I've never heard of lawyers going in there and just trying to fire their defendant when you're a public defender, right? You know, when an attorney gets on a case, they can't walk out. That's the law. They can't walk out. That's literally the law, right? Under very, 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 very rare situations would they be allowed to leave, right? And so this person can fire, but the judge has to put a limit and say, here's what's going to happen. This is your last lawyer. I'm not going to let you fire another attorney. This lawyer is going to represent you until the end. And if you don't like this attorney, you can represent yourself. I'm not going to give you another attorney. So then he's not forcing her to represent herself. He's just saying, this is your option. It's this attorney or represent yourself. And then that way he wouldn't be violating her right to counsel. Even she doesn't have to agree with her counsel. But if you've been through multiple attorneys, but then to just allow her to fire her attorney and then leave her attorney less, unacceptable. And it's unacceptable that people just want to declare that this woman is a monster, because I'm sorry, this guy is stronger than her, and he was doing things wrong too, okay? And she was saying he was crying wolf. She did not really believe. I don't believe she believed that he couldn't breathe, because he's talking, right? And she's saying there was a little hole in there. She just, I mean, who would have thought? Do you see the things they do on YouTube where they put themselves in containers and they put themselves, stupid stuff they do? And I think, man, it's a miracle that person isn't like injured or something, the crazy stuff they do. I just don't believe that she intended for him to die. No, what she said, they're recording herself being mean to the guy and talking smack to him while he's in the suitcase, you know, and bringing up the stuff that he did to her. Right? I just don't believe it, because obviously she's going to know that the cops are going to get that video and use it against her. Come on now, people, can you just at least be real? So please, America, stop with the allowing these people to present that somebody's guilty until proven guilty. And it's just like this black, they call it the black swan. This lady, let me tell you something about the Benefield case, where thank God that despite all the things they cheated on that case, she wasn't found guilty of second-degree murder. You know, it was manslaughter. But thank God it wasn't second degree, because that was, let me tell you something. This is what this judge did in that case also. They were going to press charges against Doug Benefield because he violated a protective order. And Attorney Sweets, who was in the state attorney's office, concluded, and she gave a testimony outside of the jury, and she said that absolutely that he did violate the protective order. She was going to file charges, and then she got a job offer and took it, and so the guy that took over declined to prosecute. But then what happened was the attorneys in that case said that nobody agreed with her that he did anything wrong, that he didn't violate a protective order, no charges were filed, and so they told the jury basically those facts, and the judge would not allow that attorney to testify. So she's got a great appeal. I do believe she'll win on appeal, if there's any half-decent judge, you know, and so she's acquitted of second-degree murder, so there's at least that. because even all the crazy unfair things, hiding pictures of that, what he did to that baby, hiding what he did to Renee Benefield, they literally hid so much stuff in that case. The jury didn't get to see anything. So despite all the evil things and corrupt things they did in that case, they still rejected the second-degree murder. Like, thank God for that, right? You know, and so, but I really think, but it's just, this is on and on and on it goes. I want to see, where's the other cases of all these horrible things? Like, nowhere in America is any man doing horrific things to women. It's only women doing abuse to men. Okay, Law and Crime Channel. Okay, Court TV. Whatever you say, people. Can y'all get with the program and get for real?